Hello. I wanted to make this video because obviously the World Cup is coming up. I'm very excited about it, and I wanted to see if I could predict the entire tournament. Okay, starting off with Group A. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say I'm like 4 out of 10 interested in this group. They do have some decent teams. I think Mexico will come out on top just because they are the hosts. I do think they have a strong chance for that. I'm gonna put Korea in second. We will put let's put South Africa in third and Czech Republic in fourth, just for fun. Why not? Group B. This is a win for Switzerland, right? I'm sure we can all see that coming. I think Bosnia might have a strong World Cup now. I think they could come in second. Canada will come in third. Qatar will be in last. Why? I don't know. Canada has always just been like a weird team. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they just completely fall flat. I know they don't have a great record in World Cups. And then Qatar has been not great for a while, especially in World Cups. Group C. Now, most people might pick Brazil to top the group. However, I don't know. No Rodrigo. They're kind of a mess. Neymar's injured. I don't know how much he was going to play anyways, but I'm kind of feeling Morocco to take the group. I don't know if that's a bold take or not. I think Brazil will come in second, and probably, I love Haiti, but probably Scotland third, Haiti fourth. That's just the way I see it. Okay, Group D. This is the group that we are in. United States, of course. I'm going to pick us to top the group. I think we beat Paraguay. I think we beat Australia. And we either tie or beat Turkey. Now, in second place, I am going to put Turkey. I do think they have a really strong team. I don't think Arda Güler will be playing. I could be wrong on that. But they do have a really strong team. And I know Turkey did really good at the Euros 2 years ago. So we will see how they do this time around. In third place, I'm going to take Australia. And last place, we'll go with Paraguay. Group E. Now, this is a very interesting one, right? You have Germany, who won the World Cup, 12 years ago. They have a decent lineup. I don't think they're as elite as they were, 10, 12 years ago. However, they do still have a really strong team. As well as Ecuador. Ecuador is here. I think a lot of people are taking them to be like the dark horse of the tournament. They have like Moises Caicedo, Hincapié, players like that who can really like come alive and make a difference in that team. And you know what? I think I'm going to take Ecuador to lead the group. I think they have a really strong team. They have a really good identity. And I think they can just top the group. In second place, I will go Germany. I don't think that lowly of them. In third place will probably be Ivory Coast. Sorry, Curacao. I'm probably going to put you last. It's a miracle they made it. I'm glad they did. It's good to see them in the World Cup, but I think they will go out in fourth. Group F. This is a very interesting group. I think the Netherlands, I don't know. Honestly, either the Netherlands or Japan could top the group. I could see it going either way. But I don't know. Japan has a lot of injuries, right? I know 2 major players, at least, are missing out on the World Cup. That can hinder them a lot. The Netherlands do have a pretty solid team. I think I will pick them at the top. I'll pick Japan in second. And then it's going to go Sweden in third and Tunisia fourth. However, I do think this group will be very balanced in terms of points. It'll kind of be like the group with like, who is it? It was like Ukraine, Romania, whatever group that was in the Euros 2 years ago where like everyone had 4 points. I don't know if they're all going to get 4 points, but it'll be pretty similar to that, I think. Group G. This is a walk for Belgium, right? I think we can all agree on that. Doku's in the form of his life. Courtois in goal. I think this is going to be a wash for Belgium. I think I'll go Iran second. They have a pretty solid team. I feel like they're pretty underrated in World Cups. I'll go Egypt third, New Zealand fourth. Group H. This is a pretty interesting team, or a pretty interesting group. You have Spain, which I'm going to straight out the way, they're going in first, right? They're winning the group. Despite the fact that I believe Lamine Yamal will be out for the group stages. I could be wrong on that. I think they still top the group. Uruguay will be a close second, of course, definitely. Fede Valverde is in there. They have, Gimenez at the center back. They have a pretty solid team. But I do think Spain tops. And I don't know. I mean, I think the obvious pick is Saudi Arabia in third. But, let's have some fun. Let's put Cape Verde in third. Put them ahead of Saudi Arabia. In Group I, this is the group of death, right? I think this is the collective group of death for this cup. I think I'm going to go France first, right? Here's the thing about France. A lot of people think that they're going to go to the final and win the whole thing. I don't know. I don't think I believe that. And I think it all has to do with Mbappe up top. I think he might be like too egotistical. He might want the ball too much, and France might be willing to build around him too much and like not recognize the talent that they have around him, right? I mean, the players might, but I think, the coach might not, the culture might not. I think France will definitely top the group, but I don't know if they'll win it. You know what I mean? I don't think their chances are as high as some people make them out to be. So we'll go France 1. I'm going to go Senegal at the 2. This might be a hot take with Norway, but Norway haven't been in the World Cup in a long time. They have Odegaard, they have Holland, and I've seen in the pre-game games or pre-World Cup games, Norway have been struggling in the heat. They haven't looked as good, so if they can assimilate well, then they can definitely do really good. However, I do think Senegal will finish second. We'll go Norway third and Iraq in fourth. Going on to Group J. Now, this is interesting. I think Argentina tops, right? They still have Messi in there. Julian Alvarez will be there. There's a lot of great players for Argentina. I think it's going to be how it was in the last tournament, where Argentina might not look so great in the group stage. They might start to pick it up towards the knockout rounds. And I am going to go with Jordan in second place. This might be a hot take, but I do think Jordan have a pretty solid team. I think they're going to be pretty underrated by a lot of people. And I think they might, pull a couple surprises. And, we'll see how they do. I'm rooting for them. I think they're one of the underdog teams this tournament. I'll go with Austria in third and Algeria in fourth. But that's going to be a close one, I think, as well. Group K. This will be an interesting group as well. You have Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, and DR Congo. I forgot what that team was for a second. Okay. Here, the thing about Portugal is, how much are they going to rely on Ronaldo? If Ronaldo starts, they will go in second. If he does not start, if they put someone else up top, I don't know, maybe like a Gonzalo Ramos or something, then they can definitely top the group. Knowing Portugal and the way they play, they probably will play Ronaldo, starting him, not coming off the bench. They probably will start Ronaldo. And for that reason, I am going to put Colombia up top. Colombia is another dark horse team this tournament. They're coming in. James Rodriguez loves to come alive in these tournaments. They have Luis Diaz, who I'm sure will show his excellence in this tournament. I'm going to go Colombia 1, Portugal 2. I think I'm going to go Uzbekistan 3 and DR Congo 4. However, this is going to be another group where all the points are going to be very close. It's not going to be a landslide for Colombia or Portugal or anyone at all. Same thing goes for the bottom. DR Congo is not going to lose all 3 games. I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a close group. And the last group, I think this has to be a wash for England, right? England, once again, get a pretty solid group. I think, Tuchel has made a lot of bold choices, leaving Cole Palmer and Phil Foden at home. But I do kind of believe in the England project that they have going on. I like the team that they're building. I like that they're going for more of an identity versus going for just the big names. I am going to pick Croatia to come in second. I know, the golden age of Croatia is a million years old at this point, but I do still think that they can get it done. I'm going to put Ghana in third, Panama in fourth. I do not really believe in this Panama team as much. And then Ghana, Ghana is great, but I don't know if they have enough to get over Croatia. We'll see. Okay, for the third place finishers, let's go back and review our groups. Group F, I said this one was going to be really tight. Therefore, I think Sweden will for sure go through. Same thing with Group K. I think Uzbekistan will go through. I'm going to quickly look through. I think Canada will go through. Just as, they're one of the hosts. I don't believe they will go out in the group stage. I can see for sure. I think Norway will go through. I don't know. Norway are like a weird team because a lot of people are not expecting them to win the World Cup. A lot of people think they'll be dark horses. I think people are hyping up Norway a little too much. It's gotten to the point where they're now going from like the underrated dark horses to now they're kind of overrated. I definitely think they'll be in the knockouts, but I can't see them going past like the quarterfinals, to the semifinals for not being in the World Cup for so long, just off of, Holland and Odegaard. Norway has a pretty solid team, but I don't know. I don't hype them up as much as some other people might. We have 4 other countries going through. I'm just going to look through the teams that we have options here. Ivory Coast, really solid team. I think they can make it through. I am going to pick Cape Verde just for the love of the game. Why not? Let's have some fun with that pick. I think South Africa will go through, and I think Australia will go through. With those teams being picked, I do think Scotland, Egypt, Austria, and Ghana will go home as the third place teams. Alright, going on to the round of 32. This is where things get a little bit tricky. We have all the picks here. Let's see what we can do. Okay, South Korea versus Bosnia. This is going to be a pretty good game. I think these are two teams that are pretty decently even. However, I do believe in South Korea just a little bit more. I will pick them. Ecuador versus Australia. I think I'm going to take Ecuador. I think they have that underdog factor that's going to push them through. Big game in the round of 32. Netherlands versus Brazil. This is going to be a heartbreaker for either of these two teams. However, I think I'm going to take Brazil just for the football heritage. It would be such a shame if Brazil went out so early. Despite the fact that this Netherlands team is so good, I do think Brazil will take it. Okay, Morocco versus Japan. This is also another certified hood classic. I will go with Morocco though, just because I do believe in their team a little bit more. Japan, maybe if those two players weren't injured, maybe they could pull it off, but I don't know. France versus Sweden. This is another big game. However, I do think France will take it. I think round of 32 is a little too early for them to go. Sweden, I'm sorry. Germany versus Senegal. This is going to be a really good game. I think this game will be a lot closer than what people might think. However, I will take Germany to go through. Mexico versus Cape Verde. This is another fun one. However, I will take the hosts. Cape Verde, I think, are a little too weak to go through. Mexico will go on to the round 16. England versus Uzbekistan. This is another fun one. I love the Uzbekistan project. I love what they're doing with their team, how they're building with the youth. However, I do think England have a stronger identity, a stronger team, and I think they will prevail. USA versus Canada. This is a matchup that I will for sure be hoping for because I think we destroy Canada. I think we can, maybe not destroy Canada, but we can definitely win this game 100%. Belgium versus South Africa. This will be a good one. This will be fun. Once again, I do think Belgium is a little bit stronger, though. I do think they will go through. Portugal versus Croatia. I'm thinking Portugal. I think they're one of the favorites to win the entire tournament. I do see them making a pretty deep run. I do think Portugal will make it out despite Croatia's best efforts. Spain versus Jordan. As much as I love this Jordan team, man, I gotta give it to Spain. They have Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, David Raya, Zubamendi. Definitely not just naming Arsenal players because I'm an Arsenal fan, but Spain have that team, man. I think they can definitely go all the way. Switzerland versus Ivory Coast. I think this one will be close. I am going to give it to Ivory Coast, though. I like their team. I like the players that they have. Switzerland, some might call them Shaqiri merchants. I think I'm going to go with Ivory Coast on this one. Argentina versus Uruguay will be an interesting game for sure. Two of the biggest teams from South America, definitely. But I think I am going to give the nod to Argentina. I do think their team is a little bit better. Colombia versus Norway. Two of the biggest underdogs in the entire tournament, going head-to-head so early in the tournament. I do think Colombia takes it. Norway is a great team. I love Holland. I love Odegaard. I love all the rest of the great players that they have. However, if they do match up with Colombia, man, I think Colombia will take it. I think their team is just a little bit better than Norway. I don't know how Norway is going to adapt to the heat. We've seen them struggle in these warm-up games. I think Colombia could take it. And last of the round of 32, we have Turkey versus Iran. Both these teams are great. I'm going to pick Turkey. I think they're just a little bit better. I am now just realizing all but 2 of the round of 32 matches I've taken the home team, but it's okay. All right, round of 16. This is where things get a little bit more interesting. Looking at the teams across the board here, I know I've definitely made a mistake at some point, right? There's always one underdog team that no one really expects to go as far as they did. Last tournament it was Morocco, right? They made it all the way to the semifinals. So, just looking at it, I think, at least one of these teams is wrong. Everyone looks a little too strong to be in the round of 16. There are always upsets, but, we'll just keep chugging along. Ecuador versus France. With that whole spiel just being said, this might be a hot take. Give me Ecuador. Give me Ecuador. I want the dark horse team to go all the way. I want them to defeat France. I want Mbappe out of there. France have been too good for too long. It's time to pass it on to another team. I think they go home in round of 16. Call it a bad take. We'll see once the tournament's over. South Korea versus Brazil. This will be a pretty solid game. I do think Brazil takes the nod. I think South Korea will be a really formidable opponent, but I think Brazil will take that game. Morocco versus Germany. Now this will be a pretty close one. Both teams are great. However, I do think Germany is a little bit better. Their structure is a little bit better. I think Morocco's ego is still hurting after that AFCON final. I can't see them going, super deep 2 tournaments in a row. I'm going to take Germany. Mexico versus England is a pretty interesting matchup. The host will definitely be looking to make a deep run in the tournament. However, I do not think they are strong enough to beat England. I do think England will take it all the way to the quarterfinals, maybe a little bit further. Portugal versus Spain. Now, this is the big one. This is the biggest matchup in the round of 16. Someone is going to go home here heartbroken. I don't know. Here's the thing. Spain are definitely one of the favorites to, win the entire tournament with Lamine Yamal on the team. He is definitely the future face of the sport as a whole. However, I don't know how much I'm feeling Spain this tournament. Just off of pure vibes. Will they be a great team? Yeah, undeniably. They'll definitely have a good run. If they match up against Portugal, will they beat them? It kind of depends on Portugal again, right? Will Cristiano Ronaldo be starting for this Portugal team? I don't know. This is a 50-50 for me. But today my instincts are telling me Portugal. Maybe if I was making this video tomorrow or in 2 hours, I might pick it differently. For now, I'm taking Portugal to go over Spain. United States versus Belgium. This is a pretty solid game. Belgium whooped us. What was it? 5-0 a couple months back. That was not great. As delusional as I am, I don't think we're beating Belgium. You know, as much as I think this USA team can really do some damage. Yeah, I think it might be wraps if we face Belgium, you know. I don't think we can make it past that. Argentina versus Turkey. This will be a pretty solid game. I'm going to take Argentina in this one. I think this could be a lot closer than people might think on the surface. I'm going to take Argentina. Ivory Coast versus Colombia. This is a pretty close matchup. You know, these are two dark horses that I can see doing very well in this tournament. I think I'm going to have some fun with this pick. I think I'm going to take Ivory Coast. I think that's not the team a lot of people might pick going into this matchup, if this is the matchup. But I would take Ivory Coast, you know. I think their wingers are excellent. I think they could really have some fun over Colombia. Is that a bad pick? Maybe. But, you know, things happen in the World Cup all the time, right? That's what makes it so fun. I'm going to go with Ivory Coast with this pick. Okay, quarterfinals. Things are getting serious. Things are getting serious for sure here. First game, Ecuador versus Brazil. It's so tough, right? It's so tough. Ecuador are probably the best dark horses, in my opinion, in the entire tournament. Brazil, though, oh man, they're kind of a mess. I don't know how much Ancelotti can fix them. But I do think I am going to give it to Brazil. I do think Ecuador is a wonderful team. I think this game will definitely go, if they match up, this game will go to overtime. If not, it'll definitely go to penalties. But I do think Brazil might pull through if it is this matchup. Portugal versus Belgium. This is a pretty interesting matchup as well. But I do think Portugal has a better team. I think this is the easier pick than some of the other games that Portugal has faced. Definitely against Spain. You know, I do think Portugal will beat Belgium if they match up against each other. Next, we have Germany and England. This is a clash of two titans, right? This is a match 99. This is a pretty big game for them. However, I do think England will take it. I like the team. I like what Tuchel is doing with this England team, and I believe in them. I think they can make it definitely a deep run. And last semi-final match, we have Argentina versus the Ivory Coast. Can Ivory Coast make it to the semi-finals and become the second African team to do so in the history of the tournament? I think no. I think Argentina will take it. I think they, you know, just on paper, Argentina has a much better team. And I think they can definitely do some damage against Ivory Coast. Alright, semi-finals. This is where things get interesting. You know, this is it. This is where, I don't even know what expression to use, but this is the big time, right? First semi-final, Brazil versus Portugal. Who wins it? Oh man, we've lost some great teams, you know, coming into the semi-final. Ecuador, Belgium, Spain, you know, South Korea. We've lost some really good teams, you know, coming into the semi-final. However, I don't know. Ronaldo with that Portugal team, man. If he continues to start, I don't know. I think this might be a hot take. I think Brazil will make the final. I don't know. They could do it. They could pull off some magic for sure. On the other side, we have England versus Argentina. Now, at this point in the video, it is not lost on me that Argentina are not immune to the, you know, champion's curse. Maybe putting Argentina this high up was a big mistake. Maybe that's where I went wrong so many picks ago, is keeping Argentina this high. Can they perform as good as they did in the last tournament? I don't know. But I love this England team, man. I love what Tuchel's doing. He's putting the foot down. I think England can make a really deep run and they can make it to the final. This is it. This is the last game, Brazil versus England. My God, what a final this would be. Can you imagine? Jesus Christ. I don't even know where the final's at, but the scenes outside in the stadium between the two fans. If this is the final matchup, I think England will do it. Here's why. Okay, a few reasons why. First of all, Harry Kane. Harry Kane. He's broken his curse of no trophies, right? He did it with Bayern Munich. He did the thing there. He won the league. He's probably going to win the Ballon d'Or this year. He's my pick to win the Ballon d'Or this year. I think he could lead them through. No Palmer. No Phil Foden. I think Tuchel, he's building a team. I think he's building a really solid team. I think this team has a really strong identity. They're really united. I think they all play really well with each other. It's well structured. They're kind of looking like a club team out there. A lot of them play together, right? You have a lot of players from the same teams coming in. I think they can do it. I genuinely think they can do it. I think England might surprise a lot of people and win the whole thing. So yeah, that's my predictions for this year's tournament. Leave a comment to tell me how stupid I am or how great of a job I did. Let me know some of your hot takes about this year's tournament. And yeah, see you guys later.